Okay, next we're going to check the motor oil, the engine oil. Your manual, and I'm going to refer to it often because it's a resource that you can use as well, says that your engine oil gets dirty in the course of normal operation. All right, and the quality of the oil and the volume of the oil gradually diminish. So you should regularly check the level and the quality of the oil and have it replaced as needed or topped off. So to check the oil level, first you want to make sure your engine is on a flat level surface. Turn the engine off. You don't want to check the engine oil with the motor running, and you want to wait for 5 minutes. That gives time for all the oil that's around the engine parts to drain to the bottom of the pan. Okay? So we've done all that. And there's two ways on these vehicles to check. One way is with the dipstick, and the other way is on the dashboard. And we'll show you that in a minute. Okay? So you pull the dipstick out, clean it off. Push it all the way back in. Pop it out and hold it horizontally so that your oil doesn't run down or up the dipstick, because that will show a change in level, give you a false reading. So you want it to be in between the full and the add 1 quart on the dipstick, and it is, so that's good. And I also try not to get any oil on my fingers. And the other thing you want to do, and I almost forgot twice, is smell it. Okay, it should smell like motor oil. Okay, it should smell like normal oil smells when it comes out of the quart, out of the can. Okay, and also it can be a little discolored. It can be kind of dark, but it shouldn't be black like coal tar black. If it's like that, it means you need to change your oil. Okay, if you don't want to get your fingers dirty by checking the oil level with the dipstick, there's another way you can do it. Again, you need to park on a level surface, turn the engine off, and it needs to be at operating temperature to check the oil. Wait for 5 minutes for the oil to drain down into the pan. Then turn the key to position 2. 1, 2 clicks. And then on the left-hand side of your display here, you'll see the letter M. It says press M repeatedly and check right here in the center where your fuel gauge is. Keep pressing the M until you see the little oil, looks like Aladdin's lantern, the little oil can, and then it'll flash a few times, and then it'll say okay if your oil's okay. If it's not okay, it'll probably say something else. But if it doesn't display, turn it off, wait 5 minutes, and then turn it back on again, and then press the M until you get the oil can, and then wait, and then it should display. If it still doesn't display, then you have to go see your dealer. Or check it with the dipstick. Okay? That's all for that. Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about brake fluid. The warning in the book says the brake fluid constantly absorbs moisture from the air. This lowers the boiling point of brake fluid. If the boiling point of brake fluid is too low, vapor pockets may form in the brake system when the brakes are applied hard. This would impair, because of more pressure. This would impair braking efficiency. There is a risk of an accident. You should have the brake fluid renewed at specified intervals. Brake fluid corrodes paint, plastic, and rubber. If paint, plastic, or rubber has come into contact with brake fluid, rinse with water immediately. Alright, every 2 years you should have your brake fluid renewed, so drained and refilled at a qualified specialist workshop. To check the brake fluid level, it's really easy. Stop your vehicle away from traffic on level ground. Turn off the engine. Obviously secure the vehicle anytime you're going to do any of this stuff. Secure the vehicle to prevent it from rolling away. Open the hood. Check the brake fluid level. The way you do that is you look right here on this little reservoir and wipe it off. And you've got, on the front and on the side, you've got little marks, indicators that say where the minimum is and where the maximum is. So if you do need to add brake fluid, it should tell you right on the cap what kind to use. It says use only .4 plus, right? So .3, .2 you would not want to use because it would eat up your seals. So .4 plus brake fluid. Before you take the cap off, you always want to wipe off the top. That's the worst thing for brake system is dust and dirt, contaminants, well, and water. Wipe off the cap, then you would open it up, add your fluid to the right level, and close it snug. Not too tight, because you can strip these out if you over crank it, okay? Next one is the power steering fluid. Power steering fluid reservoir is right down here, right next to the dipstick on this vehicle. And for this one, it's a black reservoir. You'll see it. But you actually have to, again, I recommend wiping off the top because they get dust on them, and when you get dust inside, then it can cause problems with your pressurized system and with your lines. For this one, it has a little dipstick. And again, you want to hold it flat, but you want to wipe it off first. I'm using a clean part of the rag. So I'm going to wipe it off, put it back in there, but I don't screw it all the way back in, I just set it down in there. Bring it out, and this one is, it's at about the halfway mark. So I would recommend adding a little bit of power steering fluid to this system. Okay? It's still in the safe range, but it's a little bit low. So next is coolant antifreeze. To check that, we have a reservoir, and it will show you on the outside. It'll say maximum, minimum. Now this system is going to be pressurized, so if your engine's hot, you probably don't want to open it up. You may get scalded if you have to add any fluid. So you wouldn't want to do this when it's hot. You'd want to wait till your engine cools down enough so that you can slowly open that cap, remove that cap, and you'll hear the pressure drain off of it. But then you can add your coolant to the appropriate level where it says maximum, and then put it back on. Now, a little trick with screwing these on, because they're nylon and plastic threads, and sometimes they strip out easily. So what I do is I do it backwards until I hear it click, like that. And then I go ahead and screw it down tight. Okay, let's go. The next thing on the list is the air filter. Let's scoot back a little bit. And the air filter, we want to check it. You just push down just a little tiny bit. You can take it out and you can hold it up and check in between each one of these ribs and make sure it's not clogged with dirt, dust, debris, and leaves and such. If it is, turn it upside down and you can just kind of clean it out like that. Okay, maybe you don't want to do that. But. And then put it back in. And you want to check inside and make sure that nothing there, because there's going to be a little bit of like leaves and dust and stuff down here on the front part of the filter. But you want to make sure that there's nothing getting past the filter on the back part. You also want to inspect your filter to make sure that it's not cracked or broken. Okay? And then those should be replaced periodically. It'll tell you in the manual how many miles.